Why is it that one tiny criticism can stick in your mind for days, but compliments disappear almost instantly? Imagine this. You're about to go to bed or head home from work or start your holiday, but before you switch off, you decide to check your emails one last time. There are dozens of messages in your inbox, and most of them are positive or neutral, but one of them is angry. And suddenly, that's the only thing you can think about. You replay it over and over in your mind. You wonder whether they're right. You think of all the things you could write back, and you imagine what might happen next. And even though you know that one person's opinion shouldn't outweigh everything else, somehow it does. If you've ever wondered how a single comment can ruin an otherwise good day, I'm Alexa, I have a PhD in psychology, and I'm going to explain exactly what's happening in your brain and teach you a simple technique that can stop criticism from taking over your thoughts. But before I teach you this technique, there's one important thing you need to understand. Your brain treats criticism like a smoke alarm. It's built to catch danger fast, even when the danger is just someone's negative words. The reason this happens is because of something that psychologists call the negativity bias, which means that our brain is designed to pay a disproportionate attention to anything negative over anything positive. In fact, psychologists have found that we pay 4 times more attention to negative than to positive things. And from an evolutionary perspective, that makes perfect sense. For our ancestors, overlooking a threat could be fatal, whereas missing out on something pleasant wasn't. So the human brain evolved to prioritize danger, to notice the lion, to spot the poison berries, to pay attention to signs of conflict or rejection. Even today, this bias is keeping you safe. You pay attention to the cars coming your way instead of all the ones that aren't. You notice tension in a colleague because maintaining good relationships affects your livelihood. The problem is that your brain doesn't always distinguish between physical danger and social discomfort. So when you receive a critical email, your internal alarm system reacts as though something important is happening. And once that alarm starts ringing, your attention gets pulled towards criticism again and again. The mistake that most people make at this point is trying to convince themselves that the other person is wrong, but that often keeps the criticism center stage in their mind. Instead, I want you to do something different. I call this technique your greatest hits. Your greatest hits are a list of 10 moments in your life that you are genuinely proud of. They don't have to be extraordinary achievements. You might include a time you helped someone when they needed support, a problem you solved, a skill you worked hard to develop, a challenge you overcame, a moment when you realized you had grown as a person. I've created a free workbook to help you identify your 10 greatest hits, and you'll find a link to it in the description below. As you create your list, don't just write down what happened. Bring each memory to life. What could you see? What could you hear? What was happening around you? So then the next time you receive that angry email, go back to your greatest hits, read through them slowly, and allow yourself to fully revisit those moments. Remember the details, the feelings, the evidence they provide about who you are. Because when criticism takes hold, the problem is that you've temporarily forgotten the bigger picture. Your negativity bias has zoomed in on one piece of information and treated it as if it were the whole story. Your greatest hits help you zoom back out. They remind you that one critical comment exists alongside years of competence, growth, kindness, resilience, and achievement. The goal isn't to stop the criticism from affecting you, it is to stop one negative comment from erasing everything else that's true about who you are. That's why this exercise works, and that's why I encourage you to download the workbook and create your own greatest hits list today. And that way, the next time your mind gets stuck on one critical moment, you'll have something powerful to remind yourself of the bigger picture.